chair and proceeded to roll up the sleeves of his white linen shirt. Her heart fluttered at the sight of his sun-tanned forearms. If only he would turn his dark Creole eyes her way. What did it matter if he caught them spying? His eyes seemed to reach into her very soul. Truth be told, he took very little notice of her. Her dresses were just as expensive and as pretty as Amelie's, and she spent most of her time at the Delany's house. But with her plain brown hair, thick spectacles, and still flat chest, there wasn't all that much for Colin to admire. Besides, he could have the attention of as many plantation owners' daughters as he desired, girls his own age, poised, blushing beauties who knew how to flirt and pose and hold a man's attention, girls who weren't a bit shy. Amelie would be just like them in another year or two. But next to her best friend, Katie felt like a wilted wallflower. "Look at him," Amelie said. "He's trying to act like Papa." Colin crossed to a low serving table where a tall vase filled with Marie Delany's yellow tea roses stood beside a cut crystal decanter of brandy. He picked up the decanter and sauntered around the room, splashing liberal amounts of the amber liquid into snifters cradled in his friend's hands. "I'll bet he sneaked that liquor out here," Amelie sniffed. "You going to tattle?" Katie asked. "Course not." Amelie pretended not to care, but she worshipped her big brother. A sigh escaped Katie as she watched Colin pause to light a cigarillo he had drawn out of his waistcoat pocket. He leaned back, let go a cloud of blue smoke, and then stared at the glowing end of the thin cigar. With their brandy and cigars, finely tailored cutaway coats, and crisp white shirts, he and his friends played the part of the men they hoped to be as they headed off to join their Louisiana regiments and fight the Yankee War of Aggression. "This is boring," Amelie sighed and tugged on Katie's sleeve. "Let's go back to the house." There was nothing boring about Colin, but if Amelie wanted to leave, Katie would oblige her best and only friend. For 3 years now they had been as close as sisters. If it hadn't been for Amelie and the Delanys, her life would be a very lonely affair indeed. And Colin? Though he held a very special place in her heart, she was definitely glad he wasn't her brother. "I want to go now." Amelie stretched and accidentally bumped against the window pane. Inside, Colin whipped around. Katie ducked below the sill and crouched in the dirt. "It's all right." Amelie grabbed Katie's hand. "Come on." Just as they slipped back through the low hedge and stepped onto the oyster-shell path to the house, the door to the garçonniere suddenly flew open. Colin's tall frame was silhouetted in the light streaming through the open door. His hands were behind his back. "I see you tadpoles. Come over here," Colin said. Behind him, the card players let out a shout that was followed by a round of laughter. Tadpoles. Humiliated, Katie stared at the dirty toes of her slippers, ashamed to be caught spying like a child. "We don't have to do anything you say." Amelie stuck out her tongue. "Does Mama know you're creeping around here in the dark?" "Does Papa know you're drinking his brandy?" Amelie shot back. "Here you go, little sister." He held out a yellow rose. Amelie sniffed it and then dropped her hand to her side. The rose, already forgotten, hung against the folds of her full skirt. "And one for you." Before she realized he had moved, Colin's hand was beneath Katie's chin. He forced her to look up. The very sight of him looming over her took her breath away. Beneath her chin, his hand was warm and strong. Her mind went blank. "Well," he said as he shrugged, holding out another rose. "Don't you want this, Katie Keene?" Katie stared up at him with a lump in her throat and pushed her spectacles up her nose. Praying she looked older and perhaps even a bit pretty in the ring of lamplight, she smiled up at him and nodded. His fingers touched hers as he handed her the flower.